Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about pigeons, health, and we have part one of our interview with Emma McNally from Achieve Your Greatness Limited.
Welcome one and all to the Kindness Project, episode Not a Clue.
We are on episode 257, but today is a super special occasion because we are recording
All round one mic.
all
together.
round one mic, all live, all in the same place for the first time ever.
No,
In like 3 months.
Oh,
it's
all
been
right,
a while.
It's been a while.
Although, the first, all of us together in one place.
It's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because normally producer Raz is sitting in somewhere over in his little bunker in Norfolk.
Yeah.
In his little blue room.
In his little printer room.
Yeah.
Surrounded by printers. You're normally nowadays in
my flat.
in your little bunker in Glasgow, and I'm normally in my little bunker in Essex.
You're normally here in the living room.
I'm normally here, and we are sort of we are in front of probably the most colourful painting that we own, the cow. The ball, the Macau. So we're all here, chaps. How are we getting on? We've had a good weekend this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic weekend.
It's beginning to look a lot like
Christmas.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
No.
It's beginning to look a lot like.
I'm home.
Oh, right. Yeah, Charlotte is home. Charlotte's home from uni. Russ.
I leave on Tuesday, but you know.
Yeah, but yeah, we all. I tell you what, we're being looked after on this podcast recording because there's chocolates on the table. We're getting served drinks.
Celebrations as well.
I made my own drinks, thank you very much.
Yeah. So, chaps, what should we talk about today?
Pigeons. There's a lot of pigeons.
Oh, pigeons.
Yeah, I like pigeons.
I like pigeons.
Yeah.
Go on in, pigeon fanciers. Off you go.
Know what the trouble is? They stop you feeding them.
Yeah, I know. Have you ever seen a pigeon sit down? Oh my god, they're so cute.
Pigeons are good.
Why are you both looking at me with some for some pigeon validation?
You're usually the one who's got like loads of meaningful contributions to the conversation.
I've got no meaningful contributions specifically about pigeons.
About pigeons.
No.
They're in a lot of city centres worldwide.
Okay.
I'll
tell you what.
It's a staple
what we'll do is
modern culture is the pigeon in the city centre.
what we'll do is have a pigeon fact off. You ready? So let's see who knows the most about pigeons.
No, let's not.
have a pigeon fact.
Hold on. Hold on. 2 minutes ago, you used to love pigeons, but suddenly you're banking on the pigeons in a big way.
No, I like pigeons.
Right.
I just don't know a lot about pigeons.
No, do I.
Right, pigeon fact number one, Russell. Go on, off you go.
I just enjoy pigeons.
Yeah. Do not just look at them and just go...
Russ, as you're the producer, can we just have that in a little meme? Just Russ will turn around and go in, I just enjoy pigeons. Right, just Russ, while we're doing that, we're just gonna record you saying I just enjoy pigeons. Say it again, Russ.
I just enjoy pigeons.
I think I missed it. But I got a photo and I'm just going to put a caption on it.
I just enjoy pigeons. That is...
Yeah.
In what way do you enjoy pigeons, Russ?
Send that to me and I'll post it on my Facebook.
Oh my god, yes.
So, what do you enjoy about pigeons?
I just enjoy the ambience of a pigeon. I'll tell you what happened.
No, just let me see it. No, again.
What don't I get about pigeons?
That cooing that they do is very soothing.
And they're very round sometimes, especially the ones in London seem to be very round.
What is the matter with you?
Well, the thing, I just enjoy pigeons. The way that a lot of London politicians have felt about pigeons is the entire opposite, because they do spread disease, don't they?
Mizzogs.
Mizzogs. And actually, a few years ago, they had a mass culling of all the pigeons in the...
I don't believe in killing for the sake of killing.
Yeah, I get that. How about culling for the sake of the environment.
No, I don't agree with that either.
I mean, there's the thing that
I think nature finds its own way.
Well,
But
it did do before we ever got involved, didn't it?
Yeah, so...
But like, there's that thing with the squirrel population that's not natively from here, and they kill all the native squirrels.
Yeah, the red and the...
I can agree with the red squirrel culling if they're killing other species that are native to...
Can we just name some other animals and see how much you enjoy them?
Spiders. I really like spiders.
Yes, I'm on board with this.
I've had several spiders.
I don't know if they're animals.
So you two.
I don't care if they're animals.
No, but they are.
Really enjoy
I do.
Right, you really enjoy. Pick an animal for us to say whether we enjoy.
I'm trying to think of animals I enjoy. Scorpions are cool.
How do you feel about badgers?
Badgers are alright.
Oh,
They're
no,
okay.
you don't really enjoy badger.
Know what I really like?
Go on.
We get this hedgehog out of the back garden, and I really enjoy the hedgehog. It rolls himself up in a ball when Snoopy goes near it.
Right.
That's
and it's
so
like
cute.
just a ball of cuteness.
I often spend if I'm in a low mood, I'll just look up pictures of wombats.
Wombats.
Yeah, especially when they're being held, because they're just like.
See, you two. Why am I constantly surprised with conversations about you two? And how did you become so aligned in your love of pigeons? I mean, I remember going to Tower.
More and more so, I notice me and Charlotte do have a lot in common.
Yeah.
In what way?
The things we like.
What? Pigeons.
Pigeons.
Random habits we have that just we don't know where they came from.
When Charlotte was talking about her anxiety the other month, I could relate to that as well.
This morning I literally said, sometimes I stare off into the distance and lose focus. And Ross was like, I'm there with you. And I'm like... Yeah,
no, I get that. But increasingly, and it's interesting because I think we've got a number of interviews on the Kindness Project coming up talking about mental health again. And I've been having a lot of conversations about, in particular, men's mental health, but it applies to everybody. Yeah. I genuinely think the fact that we can have more open and honest conversations about mental health and at least indicate when we're struggling is healthier for our society. And I suppose the challenge that I've got when I think about it is, and I don't know what the right or wrong answer is here, we don't want to wallow in that, do we? We don't want to sort of think that that's the only state we can be in. We've got to think about positive, proactive ways to make ourselves feel better, and with the support of others. Yeah. But in my head, and again, I'm really lucky when it comes to my mental health, because even though I do have challenges and fears and doubts and all that sort of stuff, I don't think I suffer from what I'd consider extreme anxiety. But what I think, looking at it from a bit of an external perspective, the first thing you need to do is talk about it, right? What do you guys think?
I find talking about it makes it worse.
I find it really difficult to talk about.
Plays on my mind. If I talk about it, it plays on my mind, yeah.
So you think about talking about anxiety makes it worse?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think it makes it worse. I just find it incredibly difficult to talk about, because in that specific moment that I am talking about it, it is a lot worse.
Yeah.
That's similar.
But how about after?
And then,
does it feel like there's been a burden lifted?
Well, we've got an interview coming up with a guy that talks about a particular group he goes to.
Yeah.
And I've signed up for that.
Oh, right, okay, tell us about that.
That's the Talk Club. I've signed up. I haven't had a chance to look around on it properly, but they ask you certain questions, see how you are and how you're feeling.
But then the benefit of that Talk Club, and that'd be a good interview when we air it, the benefit of that Talk Club is that you realise you're not alone.
Yeah.
And that's that's been one of the benefits, isn't it? That actually we can have open and honest conversations about turning around and going, look, I'm not the only one who's struggling. There's other people who struggle too. and they are still getting
I
on.
think that's traditionally what I've done is isolate myself so
Exactly.
that I don't have to
deal with it.
Don't have
Yeah.
to
But you've
face it.
But if it's in your own head, it doesn't
Yeah.
go away, does it? That's the
Yeah,
challenge.
there's that whole idea of if you don't air it, that's not actually sort of there. But that's not like a true thing. That's just something like you tell yourself in your head to sort of. Yeah, it's really weird to me that you consider it a new idea about being more open with mental health, because that's always sort of, just been around in my lifetime.
I mean, this is the interesting thing, isn't it?
It's more open than men's mental health rather than.
I think the interviews we've had is that men's mental health has been more discussed probably in the last 10 years. Now, and this is one of the big things, isn't it? Like if you look at your lifetime, like the last 18 years, we've been particularly better at talking about mental health.
Yeah.
You go back to the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, when we grew up, it was very taboo.
It was just.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was taboo. It was just people did talk about mental health, but they just didn't talk about it the same way, did they? That wasn't as open as what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, because I've been doing a lot of, like, looking into not the sort of period of time you guys talked about earlier, and a lot of it was like, in discussions of mental health, if someone had mental health problems, they hid it because the treatment was so bad that they feared the treatment more than they feared their own mental health issues.
Yeah, so a lot of it was lobotomies or shock treatment or
hydrotherapy, and it was worth to talk about it back then. And I think even though those things don't happen anymore, that sort of stigma to hide it, bury it, keep it away, people will think something bad of you if you talk about your mental health, still sort of like stays in some of the generations.
But I think sometimes part of the issue we've got is looking at the positive tools that we could potentially use to make our mental health better, because talking about it is one part of it, but then what do we do to positively progress and make sure that we're having better conversations?
I found recently that talking about how I'm feeling has made me feel a lot better than sort of internalising one.
Yeah, because you get a different perspective on that. Well, can you, on the podcast, Rose, can you just give us an update?
No.
No. On not on your mental health, but how you're getting on with stuff that you're doing on it. So, is Talk Club of benefit? And
I haven't had a chance to try out Talk Club, but I recently had some counselling, bereavement counselling. That was excellent. I found that very useful.
Good.
And it's the first time I've opened my mind to counselling. Obviously, we lost our mum, and that was quite a difficult time for me. And I had one lot of counselling straight after, and that helped. But it didn't sort of take away that feeling. I put a brick wall up and shut down after a little while. I couldn't cope with what I was feeling. And then the second time I was a lot more open, and it helped a lot more.
And it's a process, isn't it? For anybody listening, there's a really amazing documentary on Netflix, came on a couple of weeks ago, and it's a film by Jonah Hill, who's the film comedian mainly. But it's a really interesting exploration into his relationship with his therapist, and the tools that his therapist has given him to help him navigate with his own mental health. It's called Stutz, Stutz, and it's definitely worth checking out on Netflix, because it just as an exploration of some of the tools that can potentially help you navigate your own mental health. It was
what I find is that a lot of different people, if you ask them, have different ways of sort of dealing with their own mental health. Like a lot of people I know use creative art forms. And like creative mediums. Like I use my writing, I use my poetry and stuff like that, sort of as an expression of.
That's another thing I've started doing is writing a journal.
Yeah, journaling.
Yeah.
Journaling.
A daily, just like, I done this today, what went well, what didn't go well.
And then one of the other things that worked really well for me is gratitude. You know, like thinking about where I've been very lucky, and I have been very lucky. So gratitude can be really good. One quick question, chaps. How did we go from a quite light-hearted conversation about your two love of pigeons to quite a deep conversation about mental health?
It was talking about the transition that happened when you talked about the interviews we got coming up.
Ah, right, okay, that's
I don't
fair
think
enough.
that's.
Can we
I don't
interview the
think
pigeons?
I don't think that's where the transition. I think the transition, because we were talking about what we have in common, and you
Yeah.
mentioned that we
Ah,
have
yes, that's right.
Oh yeah, the anxiety.
the anxiety in common.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can you arrange an interview with a pigeon? What would be a prominent pigeon we could get
Pigeon.
back on the show?
We
Yeah.
could just pluck one off the street to London.
You
Sorry, you're advocating pigeon kidnap. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
She wants to kidnap a pigeon, Russ.
Kidnapping.
Pigeonapping. Pigeonapping, is that what we're doing?
I just want to own one pigeon.
No,
in my lifetime,
no, I
that's
would.
the dream.
Why don't you become a pigeon fancier?
You know what I would like to
Right, that is the official name for somebody who looks after pigeons. There is nothing wrong with a bit of pigeon fancying. Russell does it all the time. He's got complete admiration for pigeons. He's obsessed with them, in fact.
Let me
What?
just clarify, I fancy a lot of kind of birds.
Oh, God, stop him, please. Go on. No, actually, don't stop him. Go on, Russ. Tell us about what kind of bird you fancy.
I didn't know, I was at your
Oddly
phone
enough.
3 o'clock this morning and there was a bird over there.
Was it the
You're not
magpie?
allowed to look through
Singing.
people's windows, Russ. You're not allowed to do that.
Oh, I was going to
Put
ask
your binoculars away.
I knew I should have brought in binoculars.
Was it a magpie? We get magpies in here.
cooing,
Right,
like singing.
singing.
Oh, so it was probably a
I
male
thought
bird
that,
then.
that sounds quite nice.
Oh, right,
It
okay.
was probably a male bird then, because the males
So-
sing.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah.
What were they doing? Having a shower? Or...
Don't know.
What? What birds are allowed to sit in the rain and have a shower, aren't they?
I'm so sorry, Russ. He's at his hijinks again.
I know.
Right, okay. And on that note, right, can I just say one thing before we move on to the interview? Pigeon fancying is a genuine thing,
And I
right? Look it up,
Yeah.
pigeon fancying, because you looked to me when I said pigeon fancying like I just made that phrase up. Check it
I
out.
knew where you were leading. That's why I looked at you
right,
like
okay,
that.
fair
I
enough.
knew where you were going.
It went smoothly, actually. It went
No,
more
it
smoothly
really
than I thought. Pigeon fancying is real. And actually, I mean, you look at the. Have you ever written an article on charlottedames.com available on all good web
all
browsers?
Damn, I didn't even need to plug it this time.
Actually, can I plug the book? We did have a release date for the book that went completely out the window because we had some publishing
We
issues
did.
with us, didn't we?
We did.
But we are. The book is now available on Amazon, on Kindle, on paperback, on our publisher's website, The Endless Bookcase.
Yeah.
You can get it everywhere, and we will be doing some really cool promotional stuff now in January.
In the interviews, yeah.
In the new year, we're doing some interviews.
And book signing.
We've got a few book signings coming up.
When in January are you doing that?
We'll put them all on the show notes.
In December, you're on Phoenix FM. I think it's the 20th.
Yeah, I'll be on the radio throughout December. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of the book throughout that period. 100% of the profits from the book are going to an amazing charity, St Francis Hospice, and it makes the perfect Christmas gift as well. So pick up a copy of The Kindness Project by Chris Dames now. Just to be clear, I'm not the writer of the romantic novel The Kindness Project, which is also available on Amazon. That always seem seems to come up. We didn't even.
No.
We.
So sorry.
My next book will be a romantic novel.
I thought you were working on a dystopia.
Actually, my next book's
He
going to be.
told me he was buying the kids' book yesterday.
When?
He's got too many projects for us. I don't know how he keeps it all in his head.
Well. The next one will be the workbook, and then I'll decide what to do from there. And on that note, and interestingly enough, this interview is all about thinking about the world in practical, positive ways and using mental tools. We've got the amazing Emma McNally as our podcast guest. Emma McNally is a NLP expert, and I did some training with her, funny enough, it was really useful. Found what she talked about really fascinating, felt that she had some real input into the conversation about being kinder to ourselves, like we've been talking about today. And we wanted to share some of the tools she taught me. So let's interview Emma. Welcome, Emma, to the Kindness Project. Thank you for joining us. How are you? How was your weekend?
Great, thank you. I was training the weekend, so it was absolutely marvellous.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful group of people. And had a fabulous 3 days. So, yes.
So tell us a little bit about the sort of consistent training you do. How does that work?
Yeah. So I run a training company called Achieve Your Greatness. And basically what we're all about is helping people to achieve their greatness. So it's really about helping people to understand a bit about why they do what they do, and then using performance psychology and applied neuroscience, making changes so that they can have the life they desire. So, yeah.
And I suppose you want to make sure, like, part of the reason you were training over the weekend is you want to make sure your skills continue to be pretty good. So how often do you continue to train, and how does that work?
Okay. Yeah. So I was delivering training the weekend, but yes, I for myself going on training regularly. So CPD, continuous professional development, is hugely important. So we have a conference once a year, and we have all of the audios, which is about 40 to 80 hours worth of listening, and then always doing reading courses, because it's so important to keep our skills completely up to date. So yeah, definitely.
And tell me, before we start talking about the business, tell me a little bit about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm Emma. I live in sunny old Chelmsford, so in Essex. So I'm married to a Geordie, so a guy who comes from Newcastle. So my husband. We met in a car accident, which is obviously a different way to meet. Not one I would recommend in terms of dating. However,
it worked.
It worked. Love at first sight. Been married 25 years next year. So, yeah, all really good.
Right. I did say to you at the start I'd probably go off on a tangent. And I know you mentioned this. You mentioned when I came on your taster course a little while ago, you mentioned this.
Yeah.
Who made the initial approach? Like, how does it go from the crash to the first date? Tell me about that.
Yeah, hilarious. Well, obviously, when you're in an accident, you have to share information, don't you? Yeah. As in address, telephone number, etc. So we sort of phoned just to check. I phoned him to check he was okay, to get his insurance details, and then we got chatting, and he was like, "Do you fancy going out?" And I was like, "Yes, I wouldn't mind. Thank you very much." And it went from there. So
amazing.
Literally, I mean, if you ask him, he would agree that it was love at first sight. Just we got out of the car and I was like, "Oh my word, he's gorgeous!" And yeah. And then the rest is history.
And was this post or pre-mobile? Did you phone him at home?
So, yeah, I had a mobile. So this was 26 years ago in January. I had a mobile, but he didn't. So I had to phone my mum and dad. I was still at home, and go, "Can you come and get me? I'm in the middle of the road." So yeah. So I mean, before we'd even dated, my husband had met my parents, which was obviously a bit crazy too.
Right. Yeah. As orders go, Emma, this one's quite unique, right? We're just doing it in a different order. And you mentioned that you were training over the weekend. So tell us what you were doing over the weekend with the group you were training.
Yeah, amazing. So we were doing a beautiful process called core transformation. So this is where we work with. So if you've ever had part of you maybe wanted to be healthy and part of you wanted to eat chocolate, ever had that? Or part of you wanted to go down the gym and part of you wanted to stay in bed. We work with all of those parts because sometimes there's things like beliefs or emotions or behaviors that we find less than helpful in our lives. And this beautiful process was helping us to bring those parts together to wholeness, to actually have a beautiful experience of changing those things that aren't working for us so that we can experience a better quality of
Okay,
life.
so before we start talking about being kinder to ourselves, I want a bit of an insight into that. Next time, it happens to me quite a lot. I know I should go down the gym, but I'm conflicted, and I also want to stay in bed.
Yeah.
What models and
Yeah.
techniques are really useful for that when I'm thinking about that?
Yeah. So basically, what every single behavior we have, there's a positive intention that sits behind it. So when we sort of think, even some of the behaviors that we go, I wish I wouldn't like stay in bed. I wish I was able to jump out of bed. And what we do in NLP is we understand what it is that sits behind it, what's the positive intention, and making sure that that positive intention is retained, so that when we do other things, that need that we have, fundamental need, is still met. Because if going and doing something different doesn't meet that fundamental need, then there's something missing. And, if there's something missing, we'll fill it with something. So that's why if you've ever seen somebody who maybe has given up smoking, they will then swap to something like eating chocolate or doing something else because the fundamental need of smoking hasn't been met. So that's what we do in NLP, is help the change to be congruent for you, to work on all levels, and that need to carry on being met, but in a more healthy way. So yeah.
Is that need typically emotional?
Yeah, it can be, or it can be a high level need. It can be something like love or significance or certainty or purpose. It's those sort of things that so when you've got a behavior, that's what you see in the front, if you see what I mean. You see the behavior, but what's driving that is something more important, something deeper. And it's understanding what that is and respecting that and making sure that that's met in whatever you do. So yeah.
Okay, so you've explained that you've been married for a long time and you met your husband at car crash. What else do we need to know about you to understand what drives you as an individual?
What drives me? Yeah. Okay. So it's an absolute love and passion to help other people. So the whole company, the whole coaching world that I do, everything I do is about kindness. It's so aligned to what we're talking about. Because we have this great analogy in NLP about putting the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach people to do, is I teach people how to be kind to themselves. So by being kind to themselves, they then have the resources to be kind to the world and to other people.
Well, what's interesting? So I don't think you haven't read the book yet. Our book that's coming out in November, and I know that
it's coming out soon.
And the chapter 2 in the book. Chapter 1's a little bit the history and backstory of the Kindness Project and the reason we've written the book. But chapter 2 starts with a story about me trying to explain to Charlotte, who's my eldest daughter, about, look, if we want to be kind to others, it's really important that we look after ourselves, because then we've got more energy to give to other people. Absolutely. And guess what the analogy I use is? Oxygen mask on an airplane, because it just makes sense, doesn't it? So that's perfect. So helping others, making sure people are equipped with the tools to be kinder to themselves. Tell me a bit about Achieve Your Greatness, what you do, and how that enables people to be kinder to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So Achieve Your Greatness is a neuro-linguistic programming training school, so NLP, which, as I say, is performance psychology. So it's modeling people who are excellent in their field, understanding the tools and techniques that they use, the language patterns they use, and then going, okay, let's teach that to other people so that they can have that level of success. So we run everything from a 2-hour taster right the way through to practitioner courses, master practitioner courses, core transformation. We do something called identity by design. So that's if you feel like you've lost your sense of self. So, for example, if somebody's, spent years looking after their kids and then they go off to university, they can go, well, hang on a minute. where does that leave me? And really
Yeah.
helping them to really come home to themselves and design the future they want. So
Interesting.
I do that through coaching, one-to-ones, but also group training. So that's what we do. And so I write. I'm an author, historically been a children's author, got 14 books out for kids, but I've got just launched Who's Flying Your Plane, which again is so aligned to our analogy and how to master the controls of your life. So that is out now as well, and that's all about how to be in the pilot seat of your life, how to
Fab.
take
When's
back
that
the
coming out?
controls. So
Will that
look,
be out by the time this interview goes
by the
out?
time this interview's out, it's already out. It's on Amazon. It's there. Yeah. So in hardback, Kindle, and paperback. So yeah.
How is changing the writing style for writing to kids compared to writing for adults?
Yeah, it was quite a shift because I normally write in rhyme, and funnily enough, like
Sounds like fun, to be honest.
oh yeah,
You should have
absolutely.
kept the rhyming.
Maybe I should have. Absolutely. So yeah, as you probably can tell, I'm a person of many words, which is why my editor has been an absolute godsend to cut down because I write like I talk. So to still keep my personality, but maybe cut out some of the millions of words that I use. So yeah, it was a very different experience, but really enjoyable. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, really excited to have the book out.
It's a real interesting one, actually. I mean, like, sort of in my professional life as a financial planner, a lot of clients approach us when they're going through a point of transition in their life. So approaching what they potentially see as retirement, but retirement for a lot of people is different now, isn't it? Because they still want to maintain a degree of activity, but want to know that they're financially independent to choose what they want to do in that next chapter of their life. So yeah, that sense of identity, because identity is so wrapped up in work often, isn't it? So how do we sort of remove that sort of being wrapped up? If we want to make a transition in our life, and actually our identity is wrapped up in what we do, what's the first natural steps we should be thinking about taking to make that transition?
Yeah. So the first step is to realize that we're not the labels that we or others put on ourselves. So like you say, if you've been a teacher all your life, or you've been a doctor, or you've been a financial planner, a trainer, then that becomes our identity, but it's not our identity.
Yeah, it's not us, is it?
We are.
Yeah.
We're not just a mother, father, a wife, son, daughter, cousin, author, lawyer. We're so much more than that. So what we do is help the person to peel off those labels and find out truly who we are inside, in terms of those qualities and those characteristics, and then bring those forward and enable you to create an exciting future based on who you are, not the labels. But just moving away from the labels, there can be all sorts of emotions attached to that, such as grief, or rejection or sadness. So the transition becomes so important. So that's why we work to help people make that transition smooth. So the next chapter is an exciting chapter. It's fun. It's what it's like, this is what I've been working for all my life, as opposed to, oh, that's it. I mean, it can be if you want to put your feet up and, knit if you want to. But if you don't want to, then you can do something else.
And is that, I mean, it's a really interesting one, isn't it? So everything I try and do now, both personally and through the business, is based on values. Is part of the process helping people identify what they really truly believe and sort of that being their guiding light? Is that how it works?
Absolutely. Beliefs are huge. We do a lot of work with beliefs and values. Absolutely. And if they're not working for us, to change them. So we talk a lot, we've talked before about limiting beliefs, so those beliefs that are holding us back. Well, what we can do is change those beliefs to ones that are more empowering, so that journey is better, is more exciting. It's whatever you want it to be, rather than by default, oh, well, this is what society says, or this is what I feel I should do because other people before me have done or are doing the same thing, and carve your own path and decide what you want. Yeah, for sure.
So Emma, we both like to talk. I don't think there's any dispute about that at all. But and again, one of the things that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently is the power of questions and actually talking less, listening more, and asking more intelligent questions. How do we get as people who want to be kinder to others and help people, just get better at listening more and talking less?
Yeah.
And how do we get the balance right? Because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic. So we obviously NLP, the L bit is linguistics, and we're all about questions. We're all about asking those questions because, again, it's a balance, isn't it? So sometimes if somebody turns to you and says, I'm stuck with my Excel spreadsheet, can you help me? You're going to want to answer those questions, right? And give them some guidance. But sometimes the answer's deeper. So what you're getting is like the words are just surface and there's a meaning that sits underneath. And so by stopping talking and really listening to what they say. So we talk about active listening, which means rather than working out, what's my next question going to be, being completely present. So parking your map of the world, parking what's going on for you and being completely present with that other person, giving them your undivided attention, listening intently to everything that they're saying and picking up on those cues of what's going on for them. And then asking those insightful questions of, okay, so what's going on for you right now? Or what's happening for you? Rather than going, we do a lot of mind reading, don't we? We automatically mind, what you should do is, maybe, but maybe they've actually, got something themselves to discover. And if you ask the right questions, you can help them to discover that for themselves. So it's an interesting one, an interesting balance.
So that was part one of Emma's input. That's good so far, right?
So far.
Now, you've been tapping me, Charlotte, so clearly you want to say something or do something.
I realised there was no kindness news this week.
No, kindness news will be back next week. So there's none this week. Kindness news will be back.
Yeah, I was not informed of the change and I got very concerned and confused by our show's format changed.
The format's only changed because when we planned this, I didn't have time to do the show notes because we've been quite busy.
We've had a busy few days, haven't we? But kindness news will be back.
If we're taking kindness news out, can I put joke of the week back in?
Yeah. Put joke of the week back in.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
I've got ringing endorsement for our producer.
Excellent.
No,
hold on.
You've been over.
This is coming back to pigeons again. Everybody seems to love joke of the week, but me.
Yeah.
I mean, joke of the week. It's every time.
Do you know how popular that was on the live episode?
I've been out and about, Russ, and people have said to me, "Oh, I love the Kindness Project Live, particularly joke of the week."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is going on?"
The way Charlotte tells them in monotone.
And then laugh at my own joke at the end.
Go on then, you can do joke of the week then. Go on then. Anytime soon.
Do you want to hear a construction joke?
Yeah, construction joke.
Sorry, I'm still working on it.
And that is why I despise joking.
All right, maybe we should have done away with joking.
His reaction's my favourite bit, though. You know.
I mean, on an audio podcast, me just being deadly silent, I don't know.
It's the daggers.
It's the daggers. And on that note, my friends, have a lovely week, and we'll see you next week on the Kindness Project.
Bye.
Bye.